This is your Swing Alpha Trade Report for June 7th, 2017. SPY again, nothing exciting has happened. We entered in one trade this morning, AG. So we have a fairly large long position in our portfolio and we needed some hedges. So I was looking at the metals market and we see quite a lot of bullishness. For example, gold has been fairly bullish lately. There's other ETFs you can look at. GLD has been quite bullish. There's also a JNUG, which is very popular, which has been showing some fairly strong high volume green candles lately. And since the metals are typically inverted to the market 50% of the time, they will make a possible useful hedge to our longs. So if the market does have a large pullback at any time for any unexpected reason, we could recover some of those losses with a long in the metals market. I decided that the silver market would have been the best position just because it required the least amount of capital for this hedge. So yesterday was a very large green candle, very high volume, and before that there was this very strong uptrend with a 50% retracement. After a 50% retracement, of course, it had this bull flag, this very bullish candle here, and so we went long this morning on expectation that this will continue. It may or may not, but the reward risk is pretty good, and we do need a hedge at some point. We also stopped out of a trade this morning. Now, AMBA, we had just entered in yesterday at close, so this is quite embarrassing, but I forgot to check that earnings was actually today. If I knew that earnings was today, I would have never entered this trade. And unfortunately, earnings was much less as good as, just nearly not as good as it expected, so it sold off quite a lot. Members would have been alerted to exit quite early in the day, cutting that loss in about half. So it's about a 7% loss. And the lesson here is just if there's earnings the next day, just don't get in. We also stopped out of one other trade, CLVS. We got into CLVS about a month ago. CLVS had been a strong uptrend, but the trend had broken down and is forming a bear flag. And on earnings, it just wasn't looking any better. So we had gotten in early May and shorted this stock, actually. And so it fell almost immediately. We're up about 12%. Unfortunately, it stopped about halfway to our target here and just bounced right back up. Broke through all the trend lines and is now just showing quite a lot of bullishness. So we stopped out towards the end of today. Took a relatively small 6% loss. If it did work out to our target, that would have been about a 22% gain. So you can't win them all. Sometimes this just happens. I've had trades that would go even 90% to my target and then just pull back. That does happen every now and then, but statistically it does work in favor. So it's just the cost of business. So that concludes the trade report for June 7th, 2017.